is Landon Ward. I am a professor at University of North Carolina at Asheville. I'm in the Environmental Studies Department. I'm a herpetologist. And I'm also the herpetology science mentor for ecoEXPLORE. Well, reptiles and amphibians are similar in some ways, but the main difference is that reptiles have impermeable skin. They have skin that does not let water move across it very easily. So they're very good at conserving water. They're very good at holding moisture in. Amphibians, on the other hand, are very lose water across their skin very easily, and so they dry out very easily, and so they need to be in moist places most of the time, whereas reptiles tend to like drier places. Reptiles and amphibians are important for a number of different reasons. Reptiles and amphibians can be biological indicators of environmental health, and so if the environmental quality is not good, if the water is too polluted, you start seeing a decline in amphibian populations. So they can be an indicator that things are not going too well in the natural world. But also they're very important as food web links. Reptiles, for example, many of them snakes, for example, control mammal populations, and amphibians are food for a lot of other animals in the food chain. Some common myths about reptiles and amphibians are that reptiles, especially snakes, are slimy. Snakes are not slimy at all. They're actually dry to the touch. Another myth is that you get warts from toads, which is not at all true. Warts are caused by viruses, and toad warts are part of their skin, and it helps them hold their moisture in a little better than your typical amphibian. So one of the biggest problems facing reptiles and amphibians today is the loss of habitat. And so their habitats are fragmented by roads, and reptiles and amphibians also are often harmed by people who are afraid of them. And so one thing we can do is be more educated about reptiles and amphibians and not be fearful of animals like snakes. But citizen science has a big role to play too. Amphibians are in decline right now across the world, and we can help them out a lot if we all play a role in citizen science. We listen for frog calls, and we report frogs that we find, and give scientists a better idea of how healthy the frog populations are, and we get an idea if a species is declining in an area. If citizen science can do that, and there's Frog Watch USA, which is one of the programs where people report their data on the amphibians in their area. I like the herpetologist because I just find reptiles and amphibians fascinating. To me, lizards and snakes are just so cool looking, and amphibians are just so interesting. And I really enjoy seeing them in the wild. I enjoy just the way they look and the way they behave. I enjoy all the things they do, and I enjoy going out looking for them. I really enjoy finding them in the wild. Well, there are different ways to study reptiles and amphibians. One of my field sites, we have what are called pitfall traps, and basically it's a container that's placed in the ground, and we put a fence up, and amphibians, when they migrate, they will often hit that fence and fall into the container we have out for them, and then we can check to see which salamanders are moving around on a given day and that kind of thing. So that's one way to study them. Another way to study them, sometimes with some bigger snakes, they do tracking studies where they actually put a little tag inside of them, and they use radio tracking to find out where they're moving and that kind of thing. And so there's a lot of different ways to study them. Another way to study reptiles, especially snakes, is to go out and drive roads at nighttime after a nice warm day. After the sun goes down and the temperature drops, often the road stays warm. The snakes will come out into the road, and so you can actually do a snake survey by going to the roads and seeing what's out on the road at nighttime. Reptiles have always been a hobby of mine. I was a herpetologist, before I was a herpetologist, I was always very interested in reptiles. And as a kid growing up, I caught lizards and I caught snakes and I caught turtles and frogs, and I was really into that as a kid. And as an adult, I actually majored in marine biology in school, and I did marine science and marine biology for about 15 years. But along the way, I always had reptiles, and I started transitioning more to herpetology and away from marine biology somewhere along the way. And then now I do mostly herpetology most of the time. I just really enjoy reptiles and amphibians too. My favorite thing to do outside is to go hike around and look for snakes. That's what I enjoy doing most of all. When I have free time, that's what I always do with my free time. Just go look for snakes. My favorite thing to do by far. Turn over rocks and logs and see what I can find. This is an Everglades rat snake. And it's the same species as the black rat snakes that we have around here, but the rat snake has a really wide range, and the range extends from all the way north into the tip of Canada, all the way south into Florida and west into Texas. And over that big range, there are a lot of different populations that look different from each other. If you go into South Florida, the rat snakes there are actually orange in color, not black in color like ours here. And so the rat snakes are one of my favorite snakes because they're just so variable. And I like to go out to different places and travel and look at the rat snakes and see how they vary from one area to the next. So it's pretty amazing that this snake right here can be the same species as our black rat snakes that we have that are black in color, jet black in color. In the Florida Everglades, this is a big wetland there, and it's full of a grass called sawgrass. And the sawgrass is kind of an orangey yellowish color for much of the year. And the snake has a coloration that blends in well with that sawgrass. But they also have a pattern, the stripes that help blend in with the grass. They're hunted by hawks. And so they have this color, this pattern to blend in well so the hawks don't see them as well when they're cruising around in that sawgrass. It's kind of an orange color. Yeah. It's beautiful snakes.